that that was the Denver game. That was a humorous ending, but also kind of heart-stopping in a way. Now, to explain how we got to win off of a Facundo Campazzo miss, we have to first look back and see how we got to this point. So, looking at the first half, the Wizards actually came out with some really good energy and didn't sort of basically throw away a quarter. That's kind of how I looked at those quarters. They would kind of throw it away with bad turnovers and unforced errors and not really good defense, but would then pick it up in the second half. And I kept saying, if they come out like just focused from the get go, it's going to be a lot better. And sure enough, your known commodities, because I believe Russ has started to become more of a known commodity. He's being able to play, make, and attack in ways that allow the team to be in a positive situation as opposed to what was happening like the prior weeks. And Beal as well, another known commodity. He's going to score. He's going to be efficient. And so when you get those two, you kind of know. Really, the question becomes, especially with Bertans out, is who is going to step up? Who's going to be that third scorer for this team? And for that, it was Rui Hachimura, at least in the first half, and somewhat in the second half. He was hitting shots and capitalizing off of the fact that Denver was missing a lot, and Wizards were playing decent defense and forcing the Nuggets to sort of have these miscues, but a lot of the Denver Nuggets were really turning over the ball and sort of looked like first quarter Wizards, and the Wizards were capitalizing off of this as opposed to sort of bungling their own things. But later on in the fourth, it got pretty intense. So pretty much in the first half, the Denver Nuggets started to come back because it wasn't all of the Wizards defense that was forcing the Nuggets into bad plays, but it was enough that the Wizards were surviving. And something that they did with Jokic too, where they were loading up on him immediately, forcing him to sort of get the ball or just completely denying him from getting the ball at all. And when you do that, it sort of forces an offense to have to figure out how it's going to respond. And pretty much him and Murray were the only source of offense that the Nuggets really had in terms of trying to score against the Wizards. So when you have something like that, it helps the Wizards because in the previous game, Jokic was eating them alive and they adjusted and that helped. But of course, it's Jokic and Murray. These guys are the stars and known commodities for the Denver Nuggets. Just like the Wizards have known commodities, I'd like to say known commodities now, with Russ and Beal, scoring and playmaking. You have that same exact sort of potent punch with Murray and Jokic. Murray being able to stretch the floor, Jokic being able to stretch the floor, and Jokic being such an insane playmaker that you have to keep your eyes on Jokic at all times, but you also have to keep your eyes on a lot of cutters. And pretty much with Jokic and Murray being the source of the offense, cutting them off pretty much cuts off the whole team. It was mainly, again, Nuggets missing a lot of shots. And as we got closer and closer to the fourth, because in the second half, after the second quarter, the game just became sort of a back and forth affair, and it ended tied, and the rest of the Denver Nuggets started to warm up as well. Jokic started hitting a lot of threes because of all the denial, so it was like, okay, this is not fun. And then Murray also started picking up with his shots as well, and then of course that sort of, became a trickle-down effect. I believe Zazik Nnaji was hitting shots as well too. So you have this team that's starting to heat up, but again, the Washington Wizards are responding. Russ is hitting shots, Beal's hitting shots, Rui was hitting shots. Garrison and Mo took a few charges at times, which helped. The turnovers were still being forced, and it was great to see the Wizards play with this kind of consistent energy and not allow themselves to fall behind the eight ball at all. Even when the Nuggets did at one point take the lead in the fourth, the Wizards never really sort of frayed or found themselves looking down upon themselves. It was just, all right, let's respond to this. And it was either a Rui bucket or Garrison. It was this really timely buckets, and gotta shout him out because I forget sometimes when I do these. Raul Neto, whose name I've been saying wrong as well. This man is insane. He just goes into the paint, this tiny man, and somehow comes out the other side with a score. Or he was scoring timely. He's hitting layups. He's hitting threes. He's being pesky on the other side, helping the Wizards sort of force turnovers without being a negative on the thing. If I had to say who I would want as the second point guard off the bench, like I want Neto over Ish, just because of how Ish plays versus how Neto plays. Ish, at times his offense just really can stagnate. And with Neto, he's still moving around and doing other things. I feel like Ish has become sort of a one-trick pony in that regard, but maybe I'm wrong. So yeah, you have a third scorer, Rui Hachimura, and you have Hal Neto, and these guys can fill a void with, Bertans being out. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. He was out this game, so he's day to day. And having those guys step up this game was pretty huge. How did we end up winning on a Facundo Campazzo miss, who, by the way, is a very pesky defender in his own right, insanely scary, and a great passer. When the Nuggets did sort of stagnate, he was one of the guys who was finding people and passing it out, and him as well as Michael Porter Jr. heated up too. It was like scary. Like Campazzo didn't heat up in terms of scoring, clearly, but he's still so adept at finding guys that even when he's not hounding your guy and pissing off Bradley Beal, he's still a dangerous person, a dangerous player to watch. So I'm sitting there thinking I'm worried about Murray. No, it didn't even end up being Murray to take the last shot. The Nuggets got a little too pass happy at the end. But essentially, what it boiled down to was when with a minute left, you have Russ hit a shot, I want to say, and then I think Beal hits a couple free throws, and there's a tech, and the Nuggets shoot free throws, and the Wizards are up, and then they just absolutely bungle their last possession to seal the game, and the Nuggets get a run out, and it's like a 4-on-1. As a Wizards fan, you kind of just go, okay, this game is over, because it's such a thing for like us to mess up the final possession and then watch a game winner go down. But somehow I was also I was just apathetic. But I think it's because of one, his overall West Coast road trip, which I'll get to, but for two, just the effort level has been so much better. But yeah, so they miss this final shot after the Wizards bungle their last play. It went from Westbrook's hands, nearly turned over, to Beal's hands, forced out of his hands, into Neto, who has to throw up a bad layup. Nuggets get the rebound, they run down, they have it's like a 3-on-2 or a 4-on-1. They're passing around. Murray gets cut off just enough to force him to pass it. He gets it to Campazzo with the seconds left. Campazzo throws up a 3, and it's just so absolutely short. And I was just like, oh, we won? The game's over? It felt like it all just happened so fast. But yeah, the Wizards respond really well to, like I said, just throw away that last game and then just play the next one in front of you. And that's what the Wizards did. Now, what's important is playing against teams that are not as good as the Nuggets and being able to respond with that same kind of energy in that way. That'll be important to see. So for the entire West Coast road trip, if you're only counting when they went to Portland and then finished in Denver, they finished 3-1, which is not what I don't think any Wizards fan expected that. And then overall, if you just go from the Rockets game, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins out of 6 possible games. That is, again, not what I think Wizards fans are expecting, especially considering the performances that were happening. It seemed like the Wizards were destined for Beal scores really well. Westbrook might might turn over, who knows? And the rest of the team may succeed or flounder, but there wasn't this kind of confidence that I think is starting to exist, both probably with the team and fans. I think they're starting to be more comfortable with the idea of maybe the playoffs are in in view. If they can continue play like this, that's the important thing. And the Wizards have to be able to not just play up to the competition in front of them that is above 500, but be able to play to what could be potentially at some point, if the Wizards could keep this play up, considered lesser competition. And that's the key thing to look at. But as far as this game goes, I just really love the fact that they were forcing turnovers. They were playing decent defense. They were not having the offense just go into this stagnation where like no one's moving. There was a lot of swings. Rui got a 3 off of one moment where and the ball was just hopping around. It wasn't just like sort of predictable offense. The offense actually had some kind of ebb and flow to it, which was just nice to see. These kinds of things and that kind of play, again, another key, first quarter, how they came out, not getting put beyond the 8 ball immediately, especially in Denver with the elevation. You set yourself up to win when you are behind. It's like simple. It's quick maths. I'm happy with the Wizards' effort. I'm happy that they got the dub. And overall, this is looking up. This is looking good. Let's see how they come out against the Timberwolves in a day or two, I think. I'm excited. I can't wait I'm excited for next game, you know? I'm hoping that they come out with the same energy. You know, keep the same energy. A little bit nervous. Always nervous at Wizards games, but I'm excited. So yeah, the Wizards survive against the Nuggets, but this felt less like they survived and more like they earned it. It feels more and more like they're earning victories and getting these close victories that are really going to help them develop more confidence. Oh yeah, almost forgot DNP All-Stars. Our DNP All-Star that got off the bench today that I can't believe I actually saw play. Troy Brown Jr. Oh my God, he actually played. What? My guy Troy Brown Jr. got off the bench. Isak Bonga, we had to trade a game of Isak Bonga to get Troy Brown Jr. to dub. I'll take it. Will we see him again? I think we all know the answer to that. So yeah, next game, Timberwolves. They got a new coach, and that whole situation. Whew, that whole situation is pretty interesting. But yeah, they got a new coach. We'll see if they get like a coaching bump. You know, teams do tend to get that kind of bump when they're like, oh, you're a new coach, we should play better and stuff. You know, that fresh. But Michael Beasley just got suspended, I believe. So we'll see what they do. For now, this does not concern the Wizards. The Wizards just have to win and play against who's in front of them. Let's do it. Well, this guy says, I don't know if Wizards have the best relationship with the animal kingdom, but I'm pretty sure if the Wizards just kind of get a few puppy treats or something, just leave them out, and they should be fine. Oh wait, no, there's a cat on this team. Okay, so maybe cat treats? Does that work? That could work. WizWatch.